Why physical media is important. Let's talk about it. Hello everybody, my name is Dazenik, and yeah, I kind of wanted to talk about physical media and all of that today. It's been kind of on my mind for a long time now, I guess, but I never really talked about it, but I've seen people talk about it online here and there. But with this recent, I guess, PlayStation thing that's been going on, if you guys haven't heard, as you guys can see, if you look on Twitter, I mean, recently, I guess in the past 24 hours, PlayStation Network was down and a bunch of people found themselves not being able to play their games, access online services, and just pretty much do anything on their PS5. Yeah, as you can see, lots of people were mad. Lots of people were mad and it just kind of wondering hey, when's it coming back, you know? And thankfully it came back apparently today. So I guess that's good. So yeah, this situation kind of made me want to talk about this in general. And I'm talking about everything: games, movies, music, TV, books, anything that's online, right? So let's kind of get into that. So I guess we can start with the gaming side of things. So with this situation, pretty much with people not being able to access their stuff or even their games online, lots of people were mad. And it's like I see lots of people online commenting, and that's even before this whole situation. I always see people online kind of saying, oh, physical media, who even uses that anymore? And I guess it's kind of true. I find more and more people not using physical media and just going all digital. For some reason nowadays, it's like that's kind of what I've been seeing around, and even online, just people talking about it. It seems like there's a lot more people digital now, which is kind of unfortunate. There's still lots of people that are on physical still. Like myself, I'm always physical when I can. So yeah, a few examples of things, I guess, with this situation. For example, there's some people that have the share play thing that PlayStation has, and apparently when your PS5 isn't your primary console, in this situation, they couldn't even access their games because they had to connect to their server if they were using, I guess, another console. So yeah, that's something that's pretty bad, that's one situation. And another one is this, and this one kind of shocked me because I didn't even know about this until now, but PS5, when it released, it released with a physical drive, and then when they released the Slim and the Pro, now at that point you had to buy an external drive that you would hook up to it. I guess you would pretty much install it on the thing, but you had to buy it separately, right? But apparently those drives, they need to actually pair with the console. I didn't even know that was a thing, which is insane. That's not something I even thought could be possible. But yeah, you need to register your disk drive to be able to use it. And I guess it connects to the PSN servers or the PlayStation servers to do that. So yeah, this guy tried to do that and pair this drive, and they couldn't. So yeah, it's understandable why so many people were pissed off at this, because yeah, it just sucks. But here's the thing that's ironic though, is that lots of these people that are complaining about this whole situation are the same people who say, who has physical media in 2025, what the hell? And it's like, this is exactly why. This is exactly one of those situations where I'm like, if this frustrates you and you don't want this situation to happen, well, if you would have had physical media, you would have been fine. Again, there's a few exceptions, of course. There are a few games that you can't even access on PS5, even if you're offline and have the disc, like Helldivers 2. If you have this game, it still doesn't work if you put the disc in or whatever, because it requires online play and it requires to download. So that wouldn't work. But if, for example, you have Elden Ring like this, that works. You put it in and it's gonna work. The only thing is that if you want to have updates or the latest patch, that wouldn't work. You would only have what was on the disc at launch, right? So that's pretty much one of the only things you don't have control on. But I think if you already have the update, it's fine. You pop the disc in and you're good to go. But it's unfortunate. So there's a lot of people that were in these situations because they didn't have a physical disc. They couldn't just play the game. They had to try and open it on the PSN, and it wouldn't work. And the reason for that is because PSN actually checks your games to make sure you have it. It kind of activates it. It's kind of like a key, right? Or an activation token or whatever that it's assigned. So they need to detect that to be able to like open the game, I guess. So they require the online services for that. So yeah, that whole thing is really annoying, right? If you're somebody who has digital only games, like, man, that freaking sucks when that happens. Now the next thing would be movies and like TV shows and stuff. So it's kind of the same thing when it comes to streaming services. For example, Netflix. You know, streaming services are extremely annoying because more and more they get worse and worse every time. They just get worse. There's the fact that movies and shows get removed off of streaming services all the time because agreements like expires and stuff like that, and licenses. They even started putting ads now if you don't pay like the highest subscription level. For Netflix, they removed the ability to share an account. You know, for me personally, I used to share an account. Now we can't do that because of this. So now we have to have our own separate accounts and pay each, you know, which sucks. And yeah, with the frequency of like how many shows and movies get removed. Just for example, you know, this is like what's leaving on like February on Netflix. You know, Pearl. Can't watch that anymore after Southpaw, you know. Southpaw gets removed. Well, I got it. I can watch it. No issues, you know. All these get removed. Oh no. Inception, you know, Inception. You can't watch it anymore. Well, I got it forever. No issues, you know. It's like, that's why I buy physical, man. For movies as well. And that's not necessarily also because of this. It's also like a passion of mine. Like I love collecting stuff. I've always loved collecting stuff as well. So I guess it's just a plus. But I see this and I'm like, thankfully I own it. I just think it's unfortunate because there's so many different movies and shows that get tossed around all the time. It's actually insane sometimes when it comes to these things. There's even some TV shows sometimes where you'll have like 2 seasons on one streaming platform and then you'll have the other 2 seasons on another streaming platform. So if you want to watch the whole show, you're going to have to subscribe to 2 streaming services. And that's freaking annoying. Same thing with movies. Sometimes you'll have like one movie on one streaming service and then, oh, the second movie is on this one though. So it's just a mess and it gets really annoying. And not just annoying, it costs a lot of money like in the long run, you know, you pay this monthly. But yeah, that's an example. Not just for movies leaving, there's also lots of censorship going on. This is an example of like all the movies or some movies and TV shows that have been actually censored or cut in streaming services like The Office or Toy Story 2 apparently. For example, one here, Lilo and Stitch. There's a scene at some point, I guess, where Lilo is like in a drying machine, right? And essentially what they did, I mean, Disney Plus, what they did instead of having like the washing machine door, I guess, they removed that. She's now like under a counter or something, or like a table, I think. And she's like hiding behind a pizza box. So it's like, what? You know, for example, that, no issues. I don't have that censorship on here. Streaming service is censored. This is uncensored. You know, and then there's like Always Sunny in Philadelphia where like there's 5 episodes that are completely removed from Disney Plus. I guess because they're pretty controversial. I mean, I checked for what reason and like, yeah, I guess it makes sense. But even then it's like, you know, it's still part of the show. It's still episodes that exist that you can't watch on said platform. So the only way to watch those episodes is if you own the DVDs. So that's unfortunate, you know, that's really unfortunate. There's even like, I think I saw recently they were like, oh, Netflix, we're removing Breaking Bad. And then I was like, what? They're removing Breaking Bad? It's here. Doesn't matter if they remove it. I have it here. It doesn't matter. I own it. But now they said they were going to extend it by 2 years. So I guess if you haven't watched Breaking Bad yet on Netflix, you can still watch it on Netflix for 2 more years. For now. But again, another show that I own because I love it. I'll be able to watch it forever. I'll be able to show it to anybody. And yeah, it's just that's nice, man. Another thing about censorship, they even censor like anime, man. If you look at like Gurren Lagann, which I love, by the way, they censored episode 6, and the only way you can watch the uncensored episode is if you get the Blu-ray, the physical Blu-ray. That's the only way you can watch the uncensored episode. There's no other way, unless I guess you go through, you know, the high seas. But yeah, that's just unfortunate, man. Like these type of things, they show up all the time on streaming services, and I just get annoyed every time I hear about it. Like every time I see that something's censored or removed or anything like that. It just gets so freaking annoying. It's like nowadays they do this all the time. It's like you can't enjoy things how they were made. You know, everything needs to get censored or removed or even cut. And that's like one of the other things that surprised me the most. Like, it's not on here, but I saw like The Notebook, okay? That movie, apparently the whole ending was cut on streaming services or like on HBO Max. I saw that, I was like, really? When I watched it, personally, it was on physical, so I saw like the real thing. But when I heard that afterwards, I was shocked. I was like really surprised. I was like, wow, so they really cut the ending on streaming. I don't know if it's still like that, but apparently it is. So that's something that really surprised me, and I was like, wow. Okay. And that's when I really started thinking about it. Like they even go that far to cut stuff. And that's when I really started to like hear more about that, of like stuff getting cut sometimes. And at this point, it's not even just movies and games and stuff. It's even like music. Every song you stream on Spotify or whatever, you don't own any of that. You know, it's all on stream. If an artist decides, and of course it's their decision, or whoever distributes the music or whatever. At the end of the day, it's their thing. If they remove an album, we'll say, it's their choice. But if it's available physically, like for example, this album, amazing album by the way, like one of the best, Alice in Chains Dirt. What if like randomly someday there's like there's a legal issue. Something pops up. I don't know. Frickin' the album gets removed from like YouTube Music, for example, but it's still on like Spotify. Well, unless you get Spotify, you're not gonna be able to like listen to it, I guess. But I guess if you own it physically, you're able to listen to it. You know, of course it's easier for music, I'll agree. It's always easier to stream the songs, right? Always way easier, and you'll probably use it way more that way because it's on your phone, you're just moving around everywhere. Of course, in that scenario, I'll agree. I do just use like my phone for music mainly, but you know, it's still something that's a possibility, you know? There's always a chance that like maybe a song you like gets removed for some reason someday on like whatever streaming service you're listening to. And yeah, that's why like I kind of buy CDs, but not as much as movies and games and anime and stuff. I mainly buy CDs like for my favorite albums like ever, I guess, for now. But same thing with books. I got a bunch of manga. Sometimes there's manga that's hard to be able to read, you know? You need to pay for like some sort of service to be able to read the manga. Sometimes maybe manga get removed or they get switched from like to a different publishing company or something, right? You know, it's always easier to just pick up a book that you own, and that's it. But yeah, all in all to say, I just think physical media is like super important, and you know, I think more people should support physical media in general. At the end of the day, if you don't support physical media, it's whatever, you know, it's like it's your money, your choice, you know, maybe you don't care for that type of stuff, or you don't want to like own it, or you don't want to use space for it, and that's fine. There's a lot of people that's their main reasons, but I just think at least for me personally, these are kind of the reasons why I enjoy owning these types of things, because I avoid all of these issues that I mentioned. I avoid completely. I do not need to think about a billion different streaming services all the time. I do not need to worry about censorship when I actually own the thing. I don't need to worry about it getting cut at some point in the future or it getting removed from a streaming service. You know, I can lend it to anybody I know at any time, and I've done that before. I've had some situations where somebody in my family, they were like, oh, I really want to watch this, where I don't know where to watch it. I tried looking on like Netflix and like Prime and Disney Plus, and it wasn't there. And I was like, oh, I know, but I own it though, so you can watch it. So I just lend it off and they watch it. Easy as that. In these scenarios, it's always fun to be able to just lend it off, you know? It's nice. Same thing with games. You can always lend it to somebody, to a friend. And the other thing as well is that you can sell these things. If, for example, you played a game or you watched a movie or you did whatever, and you end up not really liking it, or like a few years down the line, you kind of want to sell it, maybe because you got a better edition of it or a better version. Well, from there, you're able to sell it online. You can just like sell it on eBay or like put it on your marketplace or whatever. So yeah, then you have the option of actually selling the stuff you own. You know, there's actually value and money value that you hold. But when you have your stuff all digital, you don't own any of that. You can't sell it, and it's worth nothing. That's the main thing. It is worth nothing. You know, you buy a game, $100. You buy movies online digitally. All of that is worthless. That you spend the money and that's it. You spent that money. There's no more value to it, and you can't do anything with it. So that's another one of like the biggest things is just the value of it. And sometimes there's some stuff that gets extremely expensive down the line. And I do have some of those things. Like I do have some games and some movies that now they're worth like 4 times the amount that I bought them for, because either they're out of stock, out of print, and yeah, they're just hard to find now. So they're worth like so much more. So again, you're never gonna have that situation with digital games or digital movies or stuff like that, or streaming your movies. You're never gonna have that because you don't own it. So anyways, it's just something to keep in mind. And yeah, if companies start pushing to all digital, you know, we might get to a point where we can't even buy games anymore. We can't even buy any physical media. You know, we might get to a point in the future where that's the reality. Everything's going to be digital. Nobody's going to own anything anymore. And it's going to be relics of the past. And I think that's something that's kind of scary to think, because at that point, the companies pretty much have you in the palm of their hands. In that sense, you don't really control anything you own. It's all theirs. You know, they can do whatever you want with it at any time. And you can't do anything. So yeah, I just kind of wanted to shed some light on this and kind of get that out there and get that off my chest, I guess, because it's just kind of a subject I kind of wanted to talk about, because it's something that's kind of been on my mind for I guess a few years now, and that I've been kind of discussing around people I know as well. And it's kind of something that's worrisome for them too. So yeah, I know I'm not the only one. There's a lot of people online too that are kind of worried about this stuff. And if you're somebody that's all digital, maybe, you know, it made you think a little bit on maybe trying to go physical or not, or just think about these things, you know, for the future. And again, you know, if you're all digital, like whatever, at the end of the day, it's your money, you know, it's your stuff. You know, everybody's allowed to enjoy their things the way they want to enjoy them. But yeah, if somebody's able to like support physical media and get into it, I think it's something that's good, I guess, for the future. And just kind of showing more interest in physical media is always going to be better in companies' eyes. They're more going to have interest in actually selling those products and stuff. I think the more people that support it, the better. There's more chances that's going to continue getting support for like years to come. So anyways, on that, let me know what you guys all think about all of this. I'd be interested to like hear all you guys' thoughts on this subject. And yeah, I will catch you guys in the next one. Peace.